you had any strong NFL draft takes for 15 days out? Is there one thing, whether it's a prospect, what a team should do, one thing that you feel very confident saying right now?
Yeah. And I think, Tom, it's however much we talk about Travis Hunter, it's probably not enough. I did a Colorado State game last year. I went to their practice. The guy, you ever see like a baseball player who like a tremendous outfielder that they just, the way they go up for the timing of like to catch a fly ball or whatever, or a long drive, or even a basketball player that's just so awesome with the finger rolls. Watching him at practice was unbelievable. Just this week, okay? Today's Ross Tucker football podcast, I had Todd McShay on the show. You guys all know Todd McShay. He has Travis Hunter as the #1 ranked wide receiver, the #1 ranked corner, okay? Fran Duffy who does a terrific job, was on my Fantasy Feast podcast today. He did 2 separate players in his scouting database. Travis Hunter, the wide receiver, Travis Hunter, the quarterback. He did 2 totally different players, okay? They're not the same guy. Both players are in the top 5 of his database, top 5 prospects for this draft. We're not talking about that enough. Tom, college football is like 160 snaps, 80 snaps, both teams, no huddle. The fact that he played that many snaps, the fact that he's better than every other guy at both positions, it is crazy. He's one of one. I can see why the Titans would take a guy like Cam Ward because they need a quarterback. But if you're and I love Abdul Carter. I'm from outside of Philly. I live near Penn State. I love Abdul Carter. I'm not taking Abdul Carter over Travis Hunter. I'm not doing that. Like a guy that can truly affect both sides of the ball, and I think will at the NFL level, I'm taking Travis Hunter #2.
The biggest thing in talking to coaches about Travis Hunter, and I asked several head coaches, we got a feature that we're working on for NFL Network around the draft, just like what's the feasibility? Could you actually play 140 snaps, let's say, on average in an NFL game? Could you do that? The primary thing that, and I asked Brian Callahan about this, Brian Schottenheimer, among others, was the biggest challenge is going to be there's so much technique, there's so much volume in scheme. You can't be in 2 places at once. You can't be in 2 different meetings. You can't go through individual drills at both position every day. So are you holding yourself back in your development, or do you need to start out, okay, you're going to play corner, and then as we ramp up here, we're going to give you a package. Okay, now we're going to give you 2 packages and try to get there. There is something to be said, though, for this guy believes he can do it because he's done it. He did it at the college level, playing every snap. And how do you then get him on board with, okay, here's exactly how we're going to roll out this entire plan?
I think he has to be in the defensive meetings. I think he has to be in the defensive back meetings. Communication, other than offensive line, the secondary is where communication is probably the second most important. He can't just go out there and start to cover guys. He has to know how they're switching up coverages, how they're passing things off. So he's got to be a corner and in all the corner meetings. And then you just said it. You can package him on offense. You can give him a small introductory package of 5 to 10 plays where he knows what route he's running and kind of ease him in on the offensive side of the ball. You can't do it the opposite way. Although I've had people say that they think he's more ready on the offensive side of the ball to contribute, and that if he went to New England at 4 or if he went to these other teams at 2 or 3, that maybe they're better off just making him a full-time receiver for what their team needs.
Deion Sanders, the closest thing that we saw to it in the mid-'90s. That was a ways into his career, too. Yeah. But legit playing. He was the 3rd receiver on the Cowboys. He had like 45 catches one year. That's the closest thing. He had 1 year. Brockman can look up the exact stats, but he had 40-plus catches. The 1 year they totally cut him loose. Okay, you're going to do this. And he did it at a pretty high level through the course of that season.
I didn't remember him doing it that much.
I remember that's the last player that I recall doing it in any extended way. Not the Mike Vrabel, J.J. Watt at the goal line. What do you got, Brockman?
His second year in Dallas, 96. He had 36 catches for almost 500 yards.
Like he was legit number 3 wide receiver on the team.
67 targets.
Right. That's full volume number 3 receiver.
And back then, that was high volume because they were a running football team, right? Yes. So back then, with Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and those guys, for him to get that's a lot of volume.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.